At least Clinton got a blowjob. Is that on camera? Oh. Governor Cuomo, I don't know what happened with this thing with him. Why is he accused? All he did was touch someone. He touched a lot of people. Mostly these politicians touch you in the wallet. But this guy picked on women when women's movement's so strong, and we have a female going to become the governor of New York now. So that maybe was planned. I think the Governor Cuomo piece of resistance that they term as arrogance was actually just him being scared. Because when you're caught with something, the first thing is fear. False evidence assumed real. You get afraid. You say, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this now?" I know that one of the things that he did, because he had the Tappan Zee Bridge and then the other one named after his father. I think he got too big for his bridges. That's what happened. And when you're famous like this, people get jealous. Jealousy's big. It's a big commodity. We're envious of the world's production, envious of wealth, but are you jealous of it? And in my book, Let a Smile Be Your Umbrella, I explain the difference. Envy is when you want something someone has. Jealousy is when you don't want them to have it. And I was talking to the amazing Kreskin yesterday, who is not a mind reader or a psychic, but he's a mentalist. And he pretty much has the future. He was the one that was on Johnny Carson with Karnak. He's had the most appearances on Johnny Carson of anybody in history. If you recall the Johnny Carson show, there are people who are watching this who are young and don't know who he is. There's those who don't watch too much of what's going on in history. They don't even know the Beatles. They don't know about World War II. They don't know that we actually did have a war. They don't know that Afghanistan was abandoned by the Russians. They couldn't do anything with those people. They got out of there. And there's a great Arab saying, Arabs using the camels. They don't trust anybody. And they believe in God. And they said, I trust Allah, but tie your camel. They think someone's going to steal from them. I have a different kind of an attitude. If I had life to do over again, I would become a lawyer. Why? Because that's where the money is, And I'm wearing my patriotic mask, incidentally, which is George Washington. And the other part of it. So you know that I'm all about money. See, the lawyers are waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and no problem. That's why they put an eraser on the end of the pencil, which nobody uses anymore anyway. But that's why they have the delete button. That's today's vernacular. And when people are trying to get away with something, they usually lie. People lie about having the mask. They lie about having the vaccine. I want you to have the vaccine, so I have mine, and I want you to have it so that you don't infect me, and I don't want to infect you. See, if we only have about 60% of the country is vaccinated. The rest of them are waiting for some. I don't know what they're waiting for. I have no idea. I don't know what's coming next. I do know that a lot of the billionaires run this world. Billionaires run it because we're a country that used to be about workers. Now we're about investors. And the way to make money is, even if you're not going to win the lottery, you got to put your money into these retirement plans. You have to have a reverse mortgage. And I think even as I talk, they're coming to take me away. You can't talk this way because there's somebody that is going to sue me. I love that. That's one of my favorite dishes, to sue me. No, what is it? That's the Italian thing, right? Is that what that's called? I like the idea that someone is able to have justice. Not in this country. You're not going to have justice here. You're going to have, maybe you'll have a jury that gets paid if they show up. And most of you guys right now are on Joey duty. You got to watch this thing. You don't know where I'm going to go with it. So you can't turn it off and you say, well, the guy's boring, but I don't know. Maybe he's going to say something good. Maybe, you see, the element of surprise. You don't know where I'm going to go. You don't know what I'm going to say. You don't know if I'm going to get good. Don't count on it. That's it. No, I have a big audience of people who adore me and my past and my background. So when I talk to Kreskin, I ask him for the future, and he tells me all about the past. I mean, I don't want to visit Charles Dickens and the Ghost of Christmas Past. And if you don't know what that is, then you're not educated. And you need to be educated. That's the first thing we need to do in this country is people cannot have all these great jobs if they're not educated. So we need to put people in schools, have them learn history, have them learn geography, learn a little bit about where I'm located. You know, I'm out on my ass. No, wait, that's not a good location. I mean, even Google won't show you that. But here's my audience here, see? And I have this kind of an audience so I don't get any flack. Actually, the reason I have this audience is because of separation. And it's no problem. Separation is no problem for me because nobody wants to be with me. Even the relatives have distanced themselves. It's just that simple, you know. Get a shot, wear a mask, and call the relatives. And believe me, you'll have distance. We used to have, speaking of that, the phone company used to charge for distance. It was AT&T, the Bell telephones. I did a record called when they were accused of monopoly. I did Ma Bell, You Got Me by the Calls. And what happened with that, you can get that on YouTube incidentally, or download it on Simplify. Isn't that what that is? So here we go with the AT&T idea that they had, which was to charge you for long distance. They did that for a long time until the internet came, and then distance was not an issue anymore because you could reach anybody at any place for just clicking, and that's the end of it. So that killed that game. So they had to go into another strategy, and what they did was they got into the place where you pay them every month and you have message units. Remember? How many messages can you hold in your phone? You got to pay for data. So they figured out no more long distance, but now it's data. It's information that's being transferred, and you have unlimited data as long as you take their DirecTV and their what's the other thing? HBO Max. They bought HBO. They're trying to buy everything they can get their hands on and get a subscription every month from you for everything they own. But everybody's doing that. I mean, even CBS bought Paramount. You know, the Viacom company owned Paramount Pictures. So now they have the Paramount. What's the one that NBC has? They have the Peacock. That's the one I was on when we did the show from Times Square, the simulcast every night on NBC. We were there for quite some time, you know, and nobody at NBC noticed me except the audience. God forbid you should be entertained, you know. I mean, they're not doing this for entertainment. They're doing this to make money, you schmuck. They don't care about you. They care about selling things that nobody needs to have a response for. You watch the news on television and you see all these ads for things that you don't need to buy. I mean, how are you going to go and buy all these drugs when you don't have that particular disease? And who understands it? Anyway, all the Latin names for these things and the explanation that if you take it, call your doctor. And, you know, once again, I'm going to sound like Jackie Mason, you know. So what do? They have you sitting there watching the news, and then they sell you something, but they don't need you to go and buy it because it makes the stockholders happy. It doesn't make anybody profit. Some things do. I mean, there are things they sell like the Dawn detergent. That Procter & Gamble, I think that's theirs, I'm not sure. But they want to make money. They want you to go and buy the soap. But, you know, not a lot of those things. Geico doesn't need you to go buy anything. They really don't. I mean, they got enough money coming in. You know what Geico stands for, GEICO. It'll probably be on Jeopardy. It's Government Employees Insurance. That's what Geico was all about. And, you know, it was only for government members, people who were employees of any social service work owned by the government, which is now called taxation. They tax us, but nobody who makes over $400,000 or under $400,000 will be taxed. Who makes $400,000? Wait a minute. This audience over here combined. I'm lucky I pay for the lawn guy. $400,000 is a lot of money, isn't it? I guess it isn't. Not if you go shopping for groceries. You know, the gasoline has gone up. They did that. They slipped this in on us when we least needed it. Why is it that everybody's prices went up when we have a pandemic, when nobody has any income, and yet they raise the prices? What are they thinking? And nobody wants to work because you can't work for that kind of money when you can get paid from the government better than if you didn't work at all. You get money to stay home. I love that. The only other way you can do that is if you have rich relatives and they were famous and they leave the money in the estate and you continue to get royalties. But see, it's all about money, all about money. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong about this. I'm telling you, boy, the almighty dollar. That's it.